Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Sweden once again, and this is a really quite interesting beer that came out in the small partiers through Systembolaget a few weeks ago. So for this one we're going to go to two of Sweden's best known breweries. So this beer is a collaboration between Stigbergets Bryggeri from Gothenburg, Gothenburg, and Omnipollo, who are a gypsy brewery primarily based out of Stockholm, and this one is the Uno. It's got that really kind of strange psychedelic style of artwork on it, but it's an Imperial IPA that comes in at 8% ABV. It had a rating overall of 99 on Rate Beer, and with these two breweries, you know, you're going to get something that's pretty good, but as I always say, just take Rate Beer with a bit of a pinch of salt, because there's various things that you have to consider there. But I'm definitely looking forward to this one, and as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done both from Omnipollo and from Stigbergets Bryggeri. No doubt there will be more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Stigbergets Bryggeri first off then, because these were the guys that actually brewed this beer in their brewery. So Stigbergets Bryggeri, as I mentioned to you, are based in Gothenburg, and they were founded by Nils Hultkrantz and Richard Simonsson, and the pair own two bars that share one kitchen. This is the Bar Kino and the Hagabion's Cafe, which are located on Linnegatan in the city, both opening back in 2007. But originally the idea was to brew a few beers that they could sell in the bars, and this eventually led to them kegging and selling to other pubs, and eventually to bottling the beers starting from November 2014. So the original beers were mainly English and German styles, but more recently, of course, they've been expanding to do the more kind of hoppy and experimental American beer styles. They started out with a 1,000 litre brew kit from Slovakia, but they upgraded to a 2,000 litre JTM system from Denmark in December of 2015, and from what I understand, they actually have upgraded that even further since then. But Niels and Richard are joined at the brewery by two brewers and another three people who deal with the likes of logistics, packaging and various other things. The original head brewer was Olle Andersson. He was the creator of the GBG Beer Week, the Amazing Haze and things like that, and he's also the co-owner of OO Brewing, which is another Swedish brewery you should definitely check out. But he has since left to focus on OO Brewing, and he's been replaced by Bernabe Struve, who was the vice president at Three Floyds. Apparently that's only on a trial basis. I don't know whether he has been appointed permanently, but if he does well, I'm sure, you know, it will continue, and I'm pretty sure he was actually one of the ones that was involved in producing this beer. But that's all you need to know about Stigbergets just now. As I say, you can go and visit the cafes on Linnegatan in Göteborg. I need to do that at some point and get up and properly explore Gothenburg. The Brewer's Bar, of course, is one place that you want to check out there, but as I said, all the links to Stigbergets are in the description below. But anyway, quickly through Omnipollo then. So Omnipollo was founded back in 2011 by Henok Fenty, who is a long-time homebrewer, and Carl Grandin, who is a clothing designer. But the two met one day and they decided to start a brewery together after they were talking about how insular the Swedish craft beer scene was, and basically abroad as well. They weren't just talking exclusively about the Swedish beer system, if you like, but they wanted to reinvigorate beer both from a kind of gastronomic sense and from a stylistic sense. So they say that the partnership between a home brewer and a kind of clothing designer was really quite logical to them. But the name is derived from omnipotent chicken, so Omnipollo, pollo of course Spanish for chicken, but these guys are gypsy brewers, so they have no brewery of their own, and they use spare capacity at other breweries, and they brew many collaboration beers such as this one as a result of that, and they currently export to something like 30 countries worldwide. They're continually expanding, of course. I think they brew most of their stout beers, these big famous stouts that they do, I think they brew most of those at Stigbergets Bryggeri, which is down in Gothenburg as well, so that's where most of them will come from, and their other ones I think come from various places around as well. But they actually also have a collaboration bar which is called the Omnipollo's Hat in Stockholm. That was done with Pizza Hat, and apparently that's become really quite popular as part of the craft beer scene in Stockholm. They've got some really nice pizzas there, and you can get some of the really random Omnipollo beers on tap there as well. So again, that's somewhere that I definitely need to go and check out at some point, because it's supposed to be really quite damn good. I just don't fancy the Stockholm prices, of course. But yeah, two very interesting breweries here, two of the better known Swedish craft breweries these days, of course, and if you haven't tried beers from either either of these breweries, I really recommend that you do. Omnipollo, the Nebuchadnezzar, of course, is a really famous one. Any of these big stouts like Noah, Omnipompa, or whatever they're called, there's quite a lot of those. And Stigbergets, of course, you want to check out. Amazing Haze, and I think they don't do the GBG Beer Week anymore, but Amazing Haze is probably their main one that you want to check out, and the West Coast IPA is very, very nice as well. But as I say, all the links and stuff are in the description below if you want to read more about these breweries for yourself. But let's get on to the tasting of this beer. So I'll just let you have a little close-up look at the artwork of this one. I don't know how well you're actually going to see that on the camera. You can see there is just a nice kind of psychedelic pattern on this one. It's actually really quite cool. I'm not sure if it's meant to be like a face or something like that. It does kind of look like a face. It's maybe just meant to be one of these ones. I'm trying to angle it so you can see it, but I think it's just meant to be one of these kind of random patterns. I think it's probably Carl Grandin that's designed this one, of course, being with Omnipollo being involved. And there you can see the typical Stigbergets bottle cap on this one. But like I said, it's an 8% double IPA or Imperial IPA, however you want to term it, and it should be really nice. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Really looking forward to this. So yeah, nice smoky opening then, and we'll get it out into the glass. I'm glad that I was able to get a hold of this one. This is probably one of the kind of big hyped up Swedish IPAs that you're going to find over the next little while. But a really, really quite nice looking beer this. So as you can see, and as you would expect from these kind of New England IPAs, it's got this really kind of almost matte, fruit juicy looking, or I think it's more of a yellowy colour this one than an orange thing. It could be like mango juice. It's a kind of mango-y yellow colour this one, but there is a wee bit of orange further into the middle of it. You can see there's a solid finger of a frothy white head. I can definitely smell some nice kind of citra notes coming out of this. I think there's probably a little bit of mosaic or something in there as well, but you can see really, really quite nice looking beer. Solid, I'd say 2/3 finger of a frothy white head, one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head, but looks exactly as you would expect from one of these kind of New England IPAs. So let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Oh, that smells really nice. You know, these New England IPAs never disappoint. They're just big juice bombs more than anything. So yeah, there's a bit of passion fruit in there, I think. I do wonder if there's a wee bit of Simcoe in there. That was one of the other hops that came into my mind when I opened this beer up. Not sure if there's a little bit of grapefruit in there, so I think it's mainly passion fruit, but there's a lot of these juicy fruits like mangoes, papayas, you know, maybe some pineapple and things like that as well. But definitely mango, and that's what makes me think there's citra in here. I'm pretty sure there is citra hop in here. There's a wee bit of a slightly orangey tangerine note, so I wonder if there's some mosaic as well. Of course, that's becoming a really quite popular hop. I'm getting just a little bit of that lighter, juicy, orangey tangerine thing, which does make me think that there's a bit of mosaic in here. And there's a wee touch of earthiness as well, and that's another kind of giveaway you can get with mosaic, of course. And I'm guessing, of course, I actually don't know what hops are in this one. But yeah, there's a nice sort of floral aromaticity to it as well. It doesn't come across as too spicy. It just has a little bit of that nice floral character. There's a wee bit of lighter kind of lemongrass, of course. And you can pick up some of the malt base too. You can definitely pick up a little bit of that sort of creamy, oaty character. There's a wee bit of a grainy note in there as well. And some white bread. Maybe a little bit of a biscuity, not quite caramelly, more of a biscuity sweetness that comes out of the beer as well. But you know, it kind of has exactly what you would expect. It has exactly the kind of nose profile or aroma profile that you would expect in one of these New England IPAs. It smells really quite nice. It's more of a juicy note that's coming off this one, and a big kind of hoppy, fruity, bitter kind of thing. I think it definitely smells more juicy than anything else. And you do just have a wee bit of sweetness coming out of the malt too, but overall it does smell really quite nice. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But we're going to try this one now. So this one is the Uno, a collaboration beer between Stigbergets Bryggeri from Gothenburg and Omnipollo, the Gypsy Brewery from Stockholm in Sweden. So let's get stuck in. Skål! Yeah. You know, it's not a surprise to me. This beer is pretty damn good. You wouldn't expect anything else when you've got these two breweries involved, to be honest. It's really, really pretty nice. But it's quite, the first thing I'm picking up on this one is it is quite a bit more bitter than I was expecting. Just going by the aroma, it did smell more juicy than anything else, but it has a nice bit of IBU kick to it. But yeah, that's really good. And that's one of the things with this one. As I said, it's 8% ABV. I think if you go above 8% with these New England IPAs, because I have had a couple that have been up into the 9% region, that's when they can start to feel boozy. And I think when you get the boozy character, you do need a little bit of a biscuity or caramel malt base to kind of cover that and stop it becoming, to stop the booziness kind of coming out, if you like. I think they've got the ABV on this one just perfect. I think 8% is the kind of optimum when it comes to these double IPAs. You do have to brew these ones a little bit lighter than you do the West Coast IPAs, in my opinion at least. It's really nice. As I always say, sugar the beer around your palate and let your whole mouth adjust to it before you start analysing the flavour too much. But with this one, the malt base is pretty much exactly what you would expect. You've got a nice little bit of a white bready character that goes across there. You can feel that kind of creamy, oaty smoothness that you would expect. There's almost a little bit of a wheaty character to it as well. I'm not sure, I can't remember with these New England IPAs if you do use a little bit of wheat in them, but definitely the oaty character's there. As the flavour progresses, you can feel just a little bit of sweetness coming out in the middle of your palate. It almost becomes a little bit biscuity. I wouldn't say, there's a little hint of caramel there, but it's not quite a very, it's not such a strong caramel. It is more of a kind of biscuity, slightly biscuit syrup, kind of digestive biscuit sort of thing that comes out of this one. It's a really quite interesting flavour, and I think that is of course the kind of the trademark, if you like, of these of the things like the Narangi from OO, the GBG Beer Week. The Muddle was the other one I was looking for earlier, and also the Amazing Haze. These are the things that have made Stigbergets really quite a famous brewery. And it definitely comes out in this beer. On the hoppy side of things, it kind of is what you'd expect as well. I would guess, I'm not sure about the IBUs of this one. I don't think it says on the bottle, but I'd guess it's somewhere around maybe 60-ish. I'm just guessing with that, of course. But in the back corners of your palate you can pick up a little bit of earthiness there, and that again makes me think there's a bit of mosaic in here. As you come further forward along the palate, you can get just a wee touch of herbal character, but then it really becomes more kind of floral and aromatic. It's got a little bit of a spicy character to it. Around the very front curve of the tongue there's a nice lighter, almost lemongrassy character in there as well. And behind the front curve of the palate there's that nice juicy oily bubble in there where the fruity characters are coming out. For this one, for me, it's definitely mangoes that are in there. As the flavour progresses you get a little bit of a kind of papaya and a kind of pineapple note as well. Actually, that's really what's coming out of this one. The mangoes are dominating. You can feel later in the aftertaste there's a wee bit of a passion fruity note in there, maybe a wee touch of grapefruit, so I do wonder if there's a little bit of Simcoe in there. But really, I think I think the Citra is definitely in here, and I do suspect there's a bit of mosaic as well. Yeah, I'm not certain about the mosaic, but I do suspect a little bit of that earthiness is from there, because I'm finding there is a wee touch of a slightly tangerine note to this one. But I'm really unsure about the mosaic. I'm pretty sure there's a bit of there's Citra in here, because as the flavour goes on, you get a little bit of that kind of slightly gooseberry kind of light cheese thing, and that's what's really great about both the mosaic and the Citra. You get these tropical fruit complexities from them, and they give you the really quite nice, just these things like the light cheese, the gooseberries, and a little bit of lemon lime of course from Citra as well. They give you these really nice tropical fruit complexities that come out further and further into the aftertaste. But the main point to take away from this is that it's a pretty damn awesome beer. They've got the ABV right in my mind. As I said, I think 8% is the ideal percentage for some of these stronger New England IPAs. It's got everything that you'd expect. I just like how these fruits come out. It all goes together very well. It's a beer style that's really come into its prime recently, and Stigbergets, of course, were the kind of pioneers of this one in Sweden, as far as I know, and it's cool to see Omnipollo kind of getting in and collaborating with them as well. I think there was the Fata Morgana, of course, as well, from Omnipollo, which was, they just brewed it with an oak base, so I think technically it's a New England IPA, but from what I understand, Omnipollo brewed that before they really, the New England IPA was a thing, so it's quite interesting actually. But the main thing to take away is that this is a really nice beer. If you enjoy your New England IPAs, you're certainly going to enjoy this one. And I would say if you like the Citra hop, and I suspect there's a wee bit of a mosaic in there as well, but it's really, really quite nice. So if you get the chance to try this, I highly recommend that you do. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, I would say it's mid-bodied. The carbonation is quite smooth. You know, it's got the nice kind of oily and creamy mouthfeel that you'd expect from the style. There's a good bit of hoppy bitterness, some nice juicy fruity character as well. And I would say the malt base has a bit of that smoothness, but it's also quite sweet. So, you know, it has everything you'd expect, and there's two very good breweries involved here. So if you get the chance to try this one, I highly recommend that you do. So this one was the Uno, a collaboration beer between Stigbergets Bryggeri from Gothenburg and Omnipollo, the Gypsy Brewers from Sweden, of course. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below if you have tried it for yourself. Let me know what your favourite beers are from both Stigbergets and Omnipollo as well, and do make sure you check out all my usual social media and subscribe if you want to see more beer reviews. So I'm sure I'll return to both of these breweries in the future, but in the meantime, if you get the chance to pick up this collaboration, it is pretty damn good, and I recommend that you do it. So, you know, a very, very solid New England IPA, and that's all you can ask for. So until the next time, it's Landed just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Skål!